All right, well, hey there, everyone. This is the next video lesson in the tutorial series, just talking about the Greeks and trying to unpack each one of them a little bit more in depth and in detail. And so this lesson, this video, I want to talk just about theta, okay? Theta is next to delta going to obviously be the biggest Greek you want to pay attention to. And so theta, as I talked about in the intro video, is just all about time, okay? It's, you have, your options are priced with the two components of the option value is made up of either intrinsic or extrinsic value, okay? That's what makes up the price. So if you have an option that costs you $10, there's going to be, some of it will be intrinsic, some of it will be extrinsic. And the extrinsic value is this time component or this time decay that we talk about, because that extrinsic value, that is the perceived value of traders, right? Of market makers, of traders, of pricers of these options. And so you really should understand how this theta is impacted, because it will be the single biggest or the single quickest way to know what your option position is, all right? So if you have a positive theta position and you have a delta neutral position, well, those two elements right there tell you, they tell anybody that knows about options, you have a unopinionated position in the market because you're delta neutral, you don't care about price, and you are generating time decay by staying theta positive. And so it's very quick. It's a very quick way to assess and determine what your position is by just looking at these Greeks. And so when you get to that point, and when you get to that stage where you're just constantly looking and monitoring what your Greeks are telling you, then you will be able to understand and develop ways to make adjustments when your Greeks begin to get out of whack. So theta is just this time estimate of how much value there is in an option each one day, okay? And so as I keep using the example here of the SPX, right? I mean, we can change this to, look at theta, and it'll show you what the daily theta is, right? And so when you change and you start looking at this theta, let's just analyze buying a vertical. Right off the bat, you see the theta is negative. So each day that passes in time, you are theoretically going to be losing 97 cents per day. Now, this is independent from all of the other Greeks. All right, so you need to, for the moment, just forget about Vega. We haven't talked about that yet. Forget about delta and gamma. We've already talked about that. But when we are talking just about theta right here, specifically this theta right here, the day today. So if nothing else changed, if volatility didn't change, if price didn't change, nothing changed, the market closed and stayed exactly where it opened at, you're going to lose about 97 cents a day by buying this call spread. And so that theta becomes very important to monitor when you are using options to try and generate income or growth. If you're always trying to, you can absolutely do it in a theta negative environment. Just understand this is what you have to overcome on a day-by-day basis. Where, if you are, say you're coming out here and you are selling a vertical, well, now you've all of a sudden put yourself in a theta positive position. So with each passage of each day, this theta is going to change. And the way you can understand that is as you get closer to expiration, so these are 30 days away from expiration. If we come right here, let's just say we analyze selling a straddle, all right? So go back in the tutorial lesson, and if you don't remember what a straddle is, that's basically selling an at-the-money call and an at-the-money put. this straddle starts out being $111 of positive theta every single day. That's what we're theoretically going to bring in. These options expire 30 days from now. All right? What if we came in and options expired in 2 days and we did the exact same thing? What do you think that theta is going to look like? If we come in right here at the exact same thing, the 2070, we sell a straddle, look at the theta. Significantly bigger, right? So you might ask yourself, well, why wouldn't anybody just do this? There are people that do it, you know? It's a great question. So the larger this theta is directly related to how much time there is to expiration. So you have options that expire in 2 days compared to options that expire in 30 days. What if we went out options that expire in 300 days, next January? We probably wouldn't get the 70, we'd have to go to the 75, but if we sold the straddle here, that's only $38, okay? So, you know, this time component, this time element, this time conversation I keep talking about, it overlaps a lot of different layers. And so for theta specifically, if your theta is in a positive scenario or a positive setup, just understand that as you get closer and closer to expiration, that number is going to increase. Now, those were right at the money options that I used. That theta also changes based upon, are you right at the money? Are you right out of the money? Okay, so as you get more practice and as you get more exposure and as you get more experience with trading various different spreads, if you're always just concentrating on how this theta changes based upon where you're positioned, are you at the money? Are you out of the money? Are you in the money? Are you call side? Are you put side? That theta is always going to be affected differently based upon how your spread and how your options are positioned. If you are just maintaining a good focus on this number staying positive, if you want to generate daily premium, or if you want to try and overcome a negative theta, then you need to really focus on a good price movement or some volatility movement. Theta is going to tell you how much decay you are incurring every single day. All right? So theta and delta, as I said in the very beginning, you know, you'll see this is a risk profile, but your delta, you know, this is a great illustration. This will kind of piggyback onto the last video about gamma. If this was a trade that I constructed right here, all right, 30 days to expiration, these options are going to expire in a month. You make about $110 every single day. Let's just get rid of those, get rid of those. So if this market, the SPX, stayed right here, this is the 17th of March, if it went forward in 1 day time, it increased a little bit. The next day, it increased even more. It increased even more. It increased even more. So you see what is happening is this white line right here is every single day it's incrementally elevating to match this expiration line. And so visually, all right, see how that's doing that? Visually, what that is telling you is something very important, very, very important. It doesn't matter what your profile looks like on this day right here. This right here is what it's going to match when your options expire. So if you let your trade start getting way down here, say your trade starts coming way down here, well, now look at what happens. If you're at 2008.64, well, look at how big your delta has become. Your gamma has accelerated your delta, and your theta has become now less than what it was at right here. Remember, the at the money is where the most activity occurs in options trading, and that makes theta the most sensitive to options right at the money. So when you start getting out to this point here in this position here, yes, you still are in a relatively safe range because you're under your expiration graph, okay, if you will. But look at how much risk you're starting to take on for a further movement down. Now, if you got all the way down here and you just let it come all the way down here, 50, 60, 70, 100 points down, your delta will never become larger than 100. Remember, 100 is the cap. Your gamma is what has accelerated that delta, and at some point your theta will become negative when you get too far away. And it's probably way down around this area here. At which point the trade is, unlimited loss potential. So while yes, you may look at this and say, well, boy, delta is flat, gamma is flat, theta is big. You just need to understand there are a lot more moving pieces to this. And the biggest one is each day that the market sits here and does pretty much nothing, this white line that I'm hovering over top right now is going to each day incrementally begin matching what the expiration graph is. So that becomes important. And the last video in this lesson, I'm going to show a position, walk through position in time, looking at Greeks, show some quick, simple adjustments on what you would, do to overcome that. But just know that the theta right here, this time decay, the theta losing its value, as you get closer and closer to expiration, the closer you are to the market, the larger this theta becomes. And the goal of a lot of traders is to maintain this delta theta relationship and this theta vega relationship so that you are always trying to maximize a theta positive position. If that becomes the goal, and if that becomes the mindset that I'm going to stay theta positive, well then you can easily see, I hope, how, all right, now if I'm always staying theta positive, well then I just need to keep super tight and super strict, attention and stay diligent on my management of price. All right, so if it starts moving against me, if the market starts moving down, well, I need to make an adjustment to delta without completely annihilating my theta. If it moves up, same thing. I need to make an adjustment to my delta without completely annihilating my theta. And I have a reference sheet, a kind of a quick cue card, if you will, that I'll post up here that you can take a screenshot or you can print it off to kind of help eliminate, well, that's great, Kevin. I know what I'm supposed to do, but how do I do that? I don't even know what how some of these spreads work. Well, there's a very quick and easy reference sheet that you'll have to use to know when you get to this area here where maybe, say you're up in this zone, you need to correct delta. You want to also preserve theta, but you don't want to destroy your vega as well. Then it becomes a very simple, well, then you buy an out of the money put spread, or you sell a deep in the money butterfly spread. And it corrects and it rebalances these Greeks so that you can hold on and manage the trade into, not all the way into expiration, but at least to your target profit. And when that becomes almost second nature, then you'll see why, in my opinion, options trading becomes extremely powerful and profitable. Okay, so that'll wrap this up on theta. I'll talk about vega next. That vega, the next video is going to be, probably not too long, 5 or 10 minutes, because I will have a whole entire section in these tutorial lessons talking about volatility. All right, so we will certainly unpack that a lot more. All right, thank you much. Bye-bye.